The renowned and relentless Irish journalist Vincent Browne once penned a series of articles in the now defunct Sunday Tribune, gleefully pointing out the inconsistencies in the accounts of the resurrection of Jesus in Matthew, Luke, Mark, and John. The following Sunday, in a letter to the editor, a hurling fan drew attention to newspaper articles penned by different journalists describing a goal scored in a specific match in incredibly different and conflicting ways. The hurling fan was at the game, and despite the variations in newspaper reporting, the fan had no doubt but that the goal was scored. It was once fashionable to sneer at the fact that there are 4 not easily compatible versions of what happened on Easter Sunday and afterwards, as if that were a sign of their untruth. But when you think a bit more about it, the very untidiness of the resurrection stories is one of the main reasons for taking them seriously as historical reportage. What's going on is clearly people struggling to find words for something that they had not expected. The writers of the New Testament are struggling to find a way of speaking adequately concerning something for which there is no precedent. Tonight we listened to Luke's account with revealing expressions like they stood not knowing what to think. Terrified, the women lowered their eyes. But this story of theirs seemed pure nonsense. They were amazed at what had happened. The hurling fan had the advantage of a video replay to prove his point. We can't set up a hidden video camera in the garden of Easter Eve and find out what really happened. What we have instead is the impact of an event that caused people to believe that the world has changed forever and that Jesus did not belong to the past. I believe that this was an event that resulted in the tomb being empty and in Jesus actually appearing to his friends. But whatever the exact nature of the event, it had the power to produce the belief that the world had changed forever. That this particular human being, Jesus, not only didn't belong to the past, but from now on was bound up in how we talk about God. So that anything that is ever said about God again must have some reference to Jesus. The impact and the image of yesterday remains strikingly present in our little prayer room, with the cross shaded in darkness. The resurrection tells us that God has refused and overturned what happened yesterday, namely the verdict of the world on Jesus. Jesus has advanced out of mere history into God's future. To believe in the resurrection is to believe that Jesus is alive and at large in the world. All day today, Holy Saturday, we live between the reality of death and the hope of resurrection. The impact of resurrection helps us to say with integrity, for there is always room for hope. even in the depths of despair, experienced as we watch the unfolding war in Ukraine and the murders of members of the LGBTQ plus community in Sligo, and a slain elderly mother in Dublin, and a murder last night in Limerick, we can say hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness. Easter is desperately needed, a reminder every year that pain and loss and death don't get the final word. The resurrection of Jesus teaches us that there is always and will always be hope. Resurrection is not a single event, but a loosening of God's power and light. The power and light are not something that we so much observe or establish through evidence, but rather we experience it. Amen.
Amen.